Hi, welcome back. I'm Holly and you're watching 𝐊𝐶 TV live from Sydney. This is the stocks in action. Let's have a look at the ASX200 and the ASX listed stocks that are trending today. The benchmark index S&P ASX200 is up today, gaining 20.80 points or 0.29% to 7,200.30 and setting a new 100-day high. The top performing stocks in this index are Resolute Mining up 3.85% and Domino's Pizza Enterprises up 3.40%. Over the last 5 days, the index has gained 2.19% and is currently 0.4% of its 52-week high. On Friday, the S&P ASX 200 closed the session 1.19% up at 7,179.5, which is the all-time high closing for the index. 9 of 11 sectors are higher along with the S&P ASX index. Materials are the best performing sector, gaining 0.55% and 3.05% for the past 5 days. On that note, let's quickly glance through some of the major market movements globally. Global equity markets rose on Friday while the US dollar tried to rebound from lower levels as new data strengthened concerns about rising inflation and more heated economic activity from the pent-up demand. All major indices on Wall Street made gains in the early afternoon, led by financial, real estate, and technology shares. The Dow Jones rose 0.19%, up to 34,529.45, while the S&P 500 gained 0.08%, up to 4,204.11. Nasdaq Composite was up 0.9% and closed the session at 13,748.74. The benchmark US 10-year Treasury yields closed lower, and Treasury yields fell on Friday in a short-end trading session as the bond market closes early ahead of the US Memorial Day holiday weekend. The month-end buying by portfolio managers, with investors largely shrugging off a rise in US core inflation rate above the Fed's target, put pressure on yields. And the dollar gave up almost all of its gains from the early session on Friday as traders became cautious ahead of the month end and a holiday weekend after seeing new economic data confirm expectations about the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. The dollar index rose 0.043% to 90.053 after making gains in the early morning trading. The index was up by more than 0.4% at the day's high, while it is down 1.34% for the month. The New Zealand dollar ended the week with hefty gains on Friday, as the prospect of early increase in interest rates widened its yield advantage over treasuries, leaving its Australian counterpart trading far behind. And the Aussie was idling at 0.7745 and is trading in a tight range of 0.7706 to 7796 range for the last few days. In the cryptocurrency space, after again falling below the $34,000 US mark, Bitcoin is trying to rebound from the lower levels and is currently up by 4% to $36,000.30. Its major peers such as Dogecoin and Ethereum are up by 0.54% and 6.65% respectively. And gold ended its minor correction and rose above the key $1,900 US level on Friday, as data revealing the rising US consumer prices in April boosted the bullion's appeal as an inflation hedge. Spot gold was up 0.38% to $1,903.3383 an ounce, having an earlier dipped as much as 0.8%. Gold has risen by almost 7.6% during the month, owing to its continuous rally. Well, before I share more of the latest market updates, it's time for a small break. At 𝐊𝐴N TV, we'll take you to the heart of the Australian equity market. We'll bring you breakthrough stories that highlight volatility, as well as tailwinds building across the length and breadth of markets. Whether space travel will gain momentum, while economies may gradually open amid vaccine rollouts, our experts will share their timely inputs. So join us on this exciting journey of live streaming, financial and stock market news. 𝐊𝐴N TV. Hi and welcome back. I'm Holly and you're watching 𝐊𝐴N TV live from Sydney. This is the Stocks in Action show. Let's have a look at some more major news from the ASX listed companies. But first, let's glance at the updates from the crude oil space. Crude oil prices softened on Monday after ending the last week with highs of more than 5% on the back of strong US economic data and a rebound in energy demand. Brent crude oil futures for August delivery traded 0.12% down at $68.93 a barrel, whereas WTI crude oil futures for July delivery traded at $66.58 per barrel. That is up 3.9% as of the 31st of May. Leading oil market analysts believe that the oil demand is on track to reach close to 100 million barrels per day in the third quarter of 2021 on summer travel in the US and Europe after the coronavirus vaccination program. The number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits has fallen to the lowest level since mid-March. The strong economic data has supported oil prices last week. However, rising coronavirus cases in Asia is still a matter of concern, which has created pressure on oil prices. Additionally, the oil glut concerns with the prospects of new Iranian oil hit on the market has also offset the price rise. Well, on that note, let's have a look at some major news from the ASX listed companies. The first piece of news comes from DevEx Resources, which has received a firm commitment to raise $7.97 million via a share placement at 32 cents per share. This funds generated will be used for expanding the company's exploration activities across three key highly mineral endowed regions: Julimar, Lachlan Fold Belt, and Alligator River's uranium province. The ASX announcement also said that the capital raise will increase DevEx's cash balance to over around $17.6 million. And moving on to the next piece of news, Moho Resources has received $686,000 as a refundable tax offset for eligible research and development expenditure conducted across its prospective projects at Silver Swan North and Burracoppin in Western Australia, as well as Empress Springs in Queensland during the year 2019 to 2020 financial year. But before I share more of the latest market updates, it's time for another small break. At 𝐊𝐴N TV, we'll take you to the heart of the Australian equity market. We'll bring you breakthrough stories that highlight volatility, as well as tailwinds building across the length and breadth of markets. Whether space travel will gain momentum, while economies may gradually open amid vaccine rollouts, our experts will share their timely inputs. So join us on this exciting journey of live streaming, financial and stock market news. 𝐊𝐴N TV. Hi and welcome back. I'm Holly and you're watching 𝐊𝐴N TV live from Sydney. This is the Stocks in Action. Let's have a look at some more major news from the ASX listed companies. Well, this ASX listed stock is in the news today. Golden Rim Resources, which has accelerated maiden drilling at Carter Gold Project in Guinea, with a second diamond drilling rig commencing operation at the Newmont Gold Resource area. GMR has doubled the infill drilling program to a 5,000 meter, with 14 additional holes proposed to cover the north and south to strike a length of approximately 800 meters at Carter. And moving on to the next piece of news, Spark Infrastructure Group has announced today that Transgrid, in which it holds 15.01% interest, has successfully reached a final investment decision to build Project Energy Connect, having now received final approvals from the Australian energy regulator. Let's have a look at the key highlights. Project Energy Connect is a 900-kilometre high-capacity electricity interconnector between Robertstown in South Australia and Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. It is a joint project with Electranet, who will construct the South Australian component of the project, while Transgrid will deliver the major New South Wales section of Energy Connect from Wagga Wagga to the South Australian border. Transgrid secured a funding of $295 million from the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. The Australian Energy Regulator approved capital expenditure allowance of $1.834 million. Construction is to commence from late 2021 with the project commissioning by 2023. Meanwhile, this ASX-listed stock is also in the news. Odyssey Gold has successfully secured commitments from domestic and offshore investors to subscribe to $79.8 million of new ordinary shares at the company of an issue price of 12.5 cents per share. As per the company's release, gross proceeds of $10 million will be raised via this process. Also, the company intends to offer the chance to participate via a share purchase plan to raise up to an additional $5 million by subscribing for up to $30,000 each on the same terms. Alright then, that is all for now. Stay tuned with 𝐊𝐴LKIND TV for more live market updates. We'll be back with more news on the markets, economy, and diverse themes and sectors. This is Holly Shields signing off.